Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I appreciate you joining us here on our Wednesday webinar. Today, we're going to talk about how quickly can I see a return on my investment. And hopefully, you're going to get a lot out of today's webinar. It's got some good folks coming on in here, so it's good to see everybody. I see Cheryl, I see Casey, I see Robert. So good to see everybody so far. See somebody's just calling in. Monica just joined in here. It's good to see you. We're going to give it just a few more minutes here just to make sure that everybody is coming on in that's going to join us this afternoon. Good to see. Looks like somebody else is dialing in from a phone. Can't see their name, but that's okay. I hope that you're doing well. Can you believe that we're in August already, folks? And this year's just going by so quickly. So let me tell you something just kind of as we get started here, as we're waiting for a few more folks to join the webinar. But now is probably one of the best times of the year outside of the first part of the year to get involved in an organization like we are here at American Business Systems, because this is about the time of the year where doctors are starting to evaluate how they're doing mid-year. So if you think about it, they've already gone through 2 full quarters of this year. They're going into Q3 now, and they see might need to make some decisions. And it takes about a little bit of time for doctors to evaluate some things, and you can certainly help them along this process, and we're going to help you with that as you can learn from us even this afternoon. So good. It's good to see those that have joined us. Cheryl, Janice, Jarvis, good to see everybody there. My name is Eric. I'll be your host this afternoon. I want you to feel free to ask me any questions anytime during the webinar today. Now, there'll be some of those questions that you'll ask, and I'll just say, hey, let me get to it here towards the end, or I'm about to come up to it in just a couple of slides here. So that might help you out there. So again, welcome, and we're officially going to get started here. Again, my name is Eric Auger. I will be your host for this afternoon. Just kind of kick back, relax. Let's make this a very relaxing webinar so that you can learn as much as you can. So again, for those that are just now joining me, again, my name is Eric Auger. I'm the Director of Learning and Engagement. You're engaging with me today, so that's why we're doing what we're doing here. And I'm here to help you and guide you along the way of help answer some of the questions that are on the topic of your investment. And then how quickly can you get that investment back? So we'll be going through all of that this afternoon. I want to make sure that you can find the Q&A box. The Q&A box is down there below in your Zoom webinar meeting. If you don't mind, just typing in where you're located today. I always like to find out where everybody's from. Some of you are from the East Coast, some are the Midwest, some of you are in the Southeast, Southwest area of the United States, some of you are on the West Coast. So it's just always good to see where everybody's calling in from. We got Monica from Missouri. So see, we got kind of a central location here. Atlanta is Cheryl. Good to see you, Cheryl. I appreciate you joining in here and sharing that. So there's some other folks that are on here. Casey, if you can share with us, maybe Monica. Janice is from St. Louis. Robert from New York. Good to see everybody. All right. Thank you, everybody, for participating in that. That at least lets me know one very important thing, and that is that I'm being heard through this internet here. Right? All right. So hey, Casey's from Vegas. Good to see you, Casey. Appreciate you joining us in this afternoon. All right. Let me share a little bit about who we are here at American Business Systems, who are the key players. Adam Phillips is our CEO. Adam's been running the ship here for the last 5 or 6 years now. He is doing an incredible job. He's got a great team. We're always developing new things. We're looking towards the first of the year. Some great things that are coming up at the first. One of the great things that Adam has done here recently is he is on the editorial board of the Billing and Coding Advantage magazine. You can see that he's got 4 articles that are published there. He's coming out with some more. He's been with the company here with American Business Systems for over 30 years, or it could be because his parents have been around for that long. And they're the ones that actually got it started, and he's taken over the helm of this from his parents. And like I said, he did that a few years back. Chaudhry is from Virginia, so good to see you there. Adam's also an author. He's written some books here, some co-authored some books, and one is 9 Ways Doctors Let Money Slip Through Their Fingers. That certainly is one that you can find on Amazon. We're not here to sell you anything, but if you'd like to get a hard copy of that, you can certainly order that from there. But I tell you what, today, if you'd like to get a copy of this in a PDF format, why don't you make sure that you get back with your sales rep and maybe politely ask for a copy of 9 Ways Doctors Let Money Slip Through Their Fingers. That'd be a great help for you. He's also written these articles for Billing and Coding Advantage magazine, and he's got, like I said, he's got one coming up here. And as soon as that one comes out, then I'm going to be interviewing and reviewing what Adam discussed in his article that's coming out. So good to have that. He's also the founder of another organization called MERMA. Now, this is so important for you to understand because for so long, people have always wondered, what about carrying the ABS logo? As you can kind of see it back behind my head here. And we would kind of lead you in a different path in doing that, because American Business Systems and what we are a business opportunity for those that want to get involved in medical billing and as a business opportunity with their families. So we've always needed an organization that we can turn people to, that they're part of an association that's nationally known. And so about 10 years ago, we developed Medical Revenue Management Association of America. It has now become the largest network of independent medical billers. So you're a part of that. You get to carry the logo there, as you can see there. And they're the ones that will certify you as a certified medical revenue manager. So they approve all of our training that we have here. They make sure that you go through that. And they're the ones that certify you. So there you go. So there's your credentials whenever you get through. So again, being part of the nation's largest group of independent medical billers, just know that you're really plugged into the best group of people that you can be a part of. So, all right. So today we're going to talk real briefly about your return on investment, because obviously today we're dealing with just the investment. We're not talking about marketing. We're not going to be talking about what you're going to learn during training. This is all about just, business people talking about business today. And so hopefully we'll help uncover some information for you, kind of shed some light on some other things. And I do know that I believe at the first of the year, I think there is an investment increase that will happen after the first of the year. So now might be a good time to be talking with your sales rep here and discussing maybe trying to get involved and get ahead of that before January 1st. So that's just kind of a little bit of thing to share there right here in the beginning. All right, so let's talk about the return on investment. The first things I like to talk about here is, because this goes hand in hand with what you make versus what somebody that's an employed medical billing person that works in a doctor's office makes. Because we know that if you were to go to a college or a trade school and learn medical billing or revenue cycle management, then you would end up working inside of a doctor's office. Now, what we're going to teach you to do is to become somewhat diversified, and being the owner of a revenue cycle management company gives you the diversification to allow you to do billing for more than just one doctor. Now, I'm going to tell you that typically you can probably bill for 3 to 4 doctors without really hiring anybody else. Now, and that's going to depend upon the amount of claims that they're producing on a monthly basis, obviously their volume of patients that they're seeing and what they're capable of doing, and just different levels of different types of doctors and their specialties, and how complex would one be versus another. But so if we think about things in a biller working for one doctor, how you could work for multiple doctors. And this is the advantage of you being independent versus being just an employee of a doctor's office. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to go out there and do my own research and try to figure out how do we know what medical billers are being paid out there in the field. So there's an organization out there called the AAPC, and that is the American Academy for Professional Coders. Okay, so that's their name of their group. And this is their 2025 Coding and Billing Salary Report. So you can see here, I'm gonna move a few things out of the way so I can see everything here. I'm gonna adjust my screen here on my side. So you can see someone that is a non-certified biller. Okay, so this is a biller. It's not a coder. It's not anything else. This is a biller. Could make somewhere around $60,000 to $61,000. Okay, so that's what they could make if they are, if they're associated with AAPC. Now, if they become certified, you can see they can go up to 66, almost about $67,000 a year. If they hold 2 AAPC certifications, it could be almost about 80,000, and then 3 AAPC certifications, they're going to round out anywhere from 84 to $85,000. Now, you know, working for a doctor's office and doing billing for a doctor's office, that's doing pretty well. That's not a bad gig. You know, it's the only drawback between what you would do versus what they're doing. You're having to drive to a doctor's office every single day, and you're going to get, you know, there's going to be a lot of diversification of things that happen within that doctor's office that might pull you away from actually some of the things that need to be done. But I just wanted to show this to you. You can go find this out. You can go look up AAPC medical coding billing salary report, and you can see actually a bigger report there. So, but let's talk about what is it going to take you time-wise to get to where one versus another. Okay, so it would take you anywhere from 6 months to get at least some type of education whenever this comes down to medical billing and getting something where you can go start marketing yourself out to doctors and become an employee of a doctor's office. It could also take you up to about 1.5 years to get all those certifications, just to bump yourself up from about 61,000 to about 80,000. But the time that it takes you to become and make yourself a medical billing company with American Business Systems is less than 30 days. Now, the advantages over being a medical biller versus owning your own company is significant. So that's why I wanted to kind of lay this foundation out for you to kind of let you know from what basis are you working from. You know, what do medical billers make, you know, if they go work for somebody, and then what are the other things that they're having to put up with. So, all right. So now that we've kind of got that out of the way, you can kind of see here that I've plugged in $68,000 if at least one, sometimes 1.5 people are doing this. Because sometimes you have different roles whenever you work in a doctor's office. Sometimes you're working billing and revenue cycle management. Sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're cleaning an office. So roundabout, sometimes it takes about 1.5 people to do that. So if you have 100 claims at $150 per claim over 52 weeks at 7.5%, you're going to see what you could make on that. Okay, so we're basing the same 100 claims per week that these doctors are billing out of, and you can see that for a doctor's office, hiring somebody at that 60,000, you can see it's going to run that doctor anywhere from 90 to maybe $100,000 just to have what's called an FTE, a full-time employee. Okay, so now I'm showing you the contrast from a doctor standpoint. I showed it to you from a biller standpoint, how much a biller can make. Now I'm kind of leading you down the path. Okay, so if a doctor does pay somebody that, what's it really, at the end of the day, what's it going to cost them? All right, so you can see about $95,000 a year, give or take a little bit, because again, sometimes they may not pay somebody $68,000. They may be a little bit right around the $50,000 mark. So again, you can plus or minus $10,000 to $15,000 a year on both sides of that, depending upon the skill of the individual and the things that they've gone through and the certifications that they've received. And you can see how that could be a little bit different. Now let's just see if the same doctor outsources their billing, what it would actually cost a doctor. Okay. So let's look at that. So if you were just to truly do the math here, if you got ahead of me already and you did 100 claims at $150 per claim for 52 weeks at 7%, you could see that what it would cost a doctor to do the same work, about $54,000 a year. Now, when we're talking about revenue cycle management, that's why I want to talk with you as a business owner and not just as an employee right now. So when you're thinking about it, helping a doctor increase their cash flow, can you already see by getting the doctor to outsource their billing, we've already increased revenue back into that doctor's office, because for the same work that's being done, we could literally add, even if we went on the lower side of it, another $20,000 a year more for that particular doctor. I mean, that could be another $1,500 to $2,000 a month more revenue for the doctor already, just getting an employee out of that office. Okay. So if I could, if y'all got any questions so far, you got any comments, you've got any concerns about what I've said so far, feel free to put that over in the Q&A box. But hopefully you're getting the fuller picture before we just kind of start talking with you about your return on investment. It's good to know really what a medical biller who works at a full-time employed job, what they make. Then if a doctor's paying a full-time employee, at the end, what they're having to pay for that. Even if you took out all these other ancillary things, there still could be a $14,000 difference just between the two there. You can see between $54,000 and $68,000, that's $14,000. That's a little over $1,000 a month more in the doctor's pocket, even if you took out all these other expenses that go along with that. Okay. All right. So now let's explore what your ROI is going to be and how quickly can I see an ROI. And for some of you, this might be kind of new to you. So no big deal. Let's talk about what an ROI is. An ROI is nothing more than a return on investment. And so this is from a group called AirFocus, and they've just defined it out there. Return on investment is a key business metric that measures the profitability of investments or making activities by weighing the size of the upfront cost against the net profits it produces. Okay, so what are your net profits that you're going to be producing? Well, again, if you're working for yourself, then you really have no overhead. So if you're billing X amount of dollars out, let's say if you're billing 7%, then you're basically going to get 7% back of return on each of your claims that you're producing for the doctor. So I'm going to break it down here in just a moment and show you exactly how the math works on all this. And you can see how quickly you can get a return on your investment. So let's first of all, let's explore a little bit, because this is a kind of a business level CEO roundtable type of webinar that we're doing today. And we need to really kind of see the big picture of what it takes whenever a typical business, how long does it normally take for profitability? Well, again, there are a lot of different factors in there, which I'm sure everybody on the webinar is already thinking about already. But if you're working for yourself and you're doing the billing for yourself, then you've got an extremely low overhead already. It's not until whenever you're having to pay employees or other folks, but you know what? You could get to that, and you'll find out that there are a lot of our current business owners who do have multiple people working for them. Sometimes they have a coder working for them. Sometimes they've hired a full-time biller themselves who has maybe gone to school. Sometimes they hire sales reps to do some marketing for them. So there's going to be some revenue sharing that happens there. So depending upon how you want to structure your business, and we'll help you in any way that we can help you structure that business, but the quickest way that we have all found is for you to do your own billing and kind of get the ground and kind of get the grunt work done, at least until you've got your return on investment. Okay. I don't want to go too much further. We've already been in this almost 20 minutes so far. So if you have any particular questions, feel free to ask me those questions. I'm monitoring the question and answer box here. So if you got anything particular you want to ask me, feel free to do that. But let's first of all take a look just from, again, not from me, not from American Business Systems, what it takes. These are locations that you can go look at. These are business websites that you can go check us out. But Accounting Professors, this is a server-based type of business. These are often have lower overhead costs, which is what I've been talking about, allow them to reach profitability within 1 to 2 years. Examples include consulting, marketing, software as a service, which is what we are. We're a software as a service type company because we're providing a software for the doctors to use. That's iClaim and EMRX. Those are some of the things that you might recognize already. Now, the other parts of the business, whether it's the coding, Code Write or Audit Guard or any of those are software as a service type things as well. So anytime that we're doing anything that we're doing and supplying a service to a doctor, all of that is a lot of times service as a software. Um, you were going perfectly looking forward to see the RI. Okay. You were, oh yes. So Chandra, yes, we're gonna get to that here in just a second. All right. So now FreshBooks, another groups can tell you that on average, a new business can take anywhere from 2 to 3 years to become profitable. And I think most of you already know this, but it's always good for us to remind ourselves as we're getting into this business, we've got to set good expectations for all of us. One of the things that we pride ourselves on here at American Business Systems is being transparent. We don't want to present to you an expectation that is not reachable. Okay. Now, have there been people that got their ROI within the first 6 months of being on board with us? You bet they have. But those are always sometimes exceptions. Now, I'll show you here that you can, with one doctor within the first year, show you how you can get your ROI within that first year. But again, few startup businesses are profitable within their first year, most taking 18 to 24 months to become profitable. But again, businesses with smaller startup costs, which American Business Systems is, such as an online or home businesses, may be able to turn a profit earlier. And that's where we are. And that's where I want to kind of start showing you how you can get your return on investment as quickly as possible. So what is the investment? Well, currently right now, it is $30,000. Again, I've just got notice from our home office that it looks like the investment's going to be going up after the first of the year. I don't know what that is. I've just been able to share with you that we do know that there is an investment increase coming up within the next 6 months or so. But right now, there's an investment of $30,000. Now, again, we are, as we know of, one of the lowest business opportunities and or franchises out there that have this low of an investment to kind of get things started, and with a 30-day money back guarantee, which is unheard of in any business opportunity or franchise opportunities that are out there. Okay, so at least we know what that $30,000 investment is. So let's talk about real quickly, just in a kind of high level, what we're looking at here. So you've got your $30,000 investment. Okay, so what's it going to take for you to get that investment back? And I'm going to break this down here with you in just a moment, because we've just been hitting the kind of the high level areas here, kind of hitting the big rocks here. So what kind of return could you be looking at? Well, within the first year, you should see a return on investment anywhere between $30,000 to $40,000 in your first year. Okay, and that's including even your marketing, trying to get things going. But we do know that success looks like this. With one doctor, you're the lowest that we can see on what you're going to be making out of that doctor is roughly about $35,000 a year. And it could be as high as $65,000 a year. So you could see well within the first year. And that's why I said that some of our folks have gotten their return on investment within the first year, because they've found a doctor that is billing a little bit higher codes, and they're making a little bit more on their percentage out there. And so they're getting to that $30,000 to $40,000 or $60,000 a year investment back with their doctor. And typically, again, usually once you've got one doctor, it's usually within the next 2 to 3 months that you've got another doctor that you're starting to do billing for, and then it just starts to compound from there. Okay. All right. Again, we're almost at the bottom of the hour, so if you got any other questions, feel free to shoot those over to me, because right now we're going to get into really the calculations. Okay, so on our website, if you haven't found it yet, there's a place on there that you can go calculate your potential of what you can make. And you can see over to the left-hand side, it says explore the investment. I'm going to explore a little bit of all of what you're going to get for the $30,000 at the end of the webinar. But right now, we're just dealing with just the calculations part of it. Okay. Now, these calculations are based upon obviously individual success and how they've marketed and who they've gotten as their first client, and are they having to do a lot of setup with anybody or anything like that. There's a lot of different kind of components, but basically rule of thumb, everything kind of works together, so we can kind of say, okay, this is what you can expect with your first doctor. Okay. So what we're going to do here, if you'll find it on our website, you can go in there and put in your billing rate. Now, this billing rate is going to average anywhere from 4 to 8%. Now, you may be asking yourself the question, how will I know what to charge? This is where our support team is going to come into play. Because when you bring a potential doctor to your support team here, and let's say that you say, okay, hey, Eric, and I'm not on the support team, but I do know this because I've had doctors that I've had support help me with. Okay. So I've had 2 medical billing companies already in the past. I know that it works and I know how ABS works. So I pretty much got this thing down. So when we first started and we were trying to figure out what are we going to bill this doctor for? My first doctor was a urologist. So I went to support and I said, hey, what is the typical billing rate for our urology group? Okay. And it was about 6.5%. But that may not be for everybody. It's that we're really on average right about 7% across the board. Again, give or take a little bit of percentage on both sides of it. So what we're going to look at here now is filling in some of this information. You can go do this on our website. You can go find this calculator on our website. It's just pretty easy to go find. But we're going to put in right now, we're going to put in 7%. Again, that's the kind of the going rate, especially with a primary care physician or internal med doctor. Okay, so those are your doctors that are kind of your mid-level doctors. They're not your specialists. They're more of your primary care physicians. Maybe even urgent care doctors are going to fall within that realm. Doctors that are seeing anywhere from 35 to 40 patients a day. Okay, so now we're going to put in the average claim amount. Again, this is a typical average for a primary care physician. So if you think about it, when you go to the doctor, you're spending anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes with that doctor, okay? At least that's what the doctor puts down of what they're seeing, how long you're seeing you as a patient, which calculates to be in our coding world, okay, anywhere from a 99214 to a 99215, which is the higher rate. And if you're a new patient, it's actually a little bit higher than that, okay, for reimbursement, okay? So the average claim amount for that doctor is going to be about $150 per patient, okay? So once you've got the billing rate, now you've got the claim amount that's going to be reimbursed to the doctor. Again, how many numbers of patients that a doctor is going to see in a day. Now, you heard me say that a normal primary care physician sees anywhere from 30 to 40 patients in a day, about 10 to 15, or I'm sorry, about 15 to 20 patients in the morning, 15 to 20 patients in the afternoon, because they kind of double book there because they know that 1 or 2 of those patients are not going to show up. They're going to be no-shows. There are going to be some cancellations that happen. So they kind of double book. You've been there where it seems like you've gone to the doctor's office and it seems like everybody showed up today, and you're the one that's there and you're having to wait another hour. You had an appointment to see the doctor at 2 and it's going to 2:45, and it's because the doctor's trying to play catch up. Okay. I like to, in this scenario, not put it as high as that because I don't want to blow the numbers out too much. Okay. So I like to say, Let's go with a lower number of 25 patients in a day. That is way below the national average that a normal primary care physician is going to see. Okay. So now let's talk about, once this calculation, you put these three numbers in there, what is your yearly potential income? That comes out to $68,250. Clearly, you can see with one doctor that's seeing about 25 patients a day for 52 weeks out of the entire year, you're roughly going to make anywhere, and let's just kind of give it a little bit of room here, breathing room, anywhere from $60,000 to as high as possibly $70,000 with that one particular doctor at these numbers. Okay. Now you may go in there and say, look, I'm just getting started. I may not want to charge the doctor a primary, a more of a kind of a primary type of billing rate where I'm at 7%, or, but I would tell you not to go below 6%. So you might want to go back in there and change that up to 6%. And you can even adjust the amount claimed to 120 to 125 in there, and then still put the 25 patients that a doctor is going to see on a daily basis. And you're going to see that it's going to come out to be about $50,000 to $55,000 a year. Clearly within the margin of error that gets you your return on investment back as quickly as possible. All right. So I'm going to pause here real quickly because Cheryl did ask a question here, and I appreciate Cheryl asking the question. So in regard to the support department, can we expect as far as responsiveness? For example, if I have a potential provider, what is a typical timeline to get assistance with a practice analysis request or with demoing the software if needed? Great question there. It sounds like you've been involved with somebody here already. Typically, you're going to get, when you call the 800 number, you're going to get somebody immediately. Many times, you're able to talk to somebody right then and there. If you have to leave a message, it's usually within about a couple of hours, you're getting a call back within the same day. Okay. So Cheryl, it's been very, very good. We've got a pretty good bandwidth of folks that in our support team that can help you. So I'm typically, if you can say within the first day of getting your, someone that you need some help with, if you call them on a Wednesday, depending upon what time of the day that you call them and try to get a hold of them, it could be that day, maybe later on, but no more than 24 hours. You'll have, you won't be waiting that. Yes, with Mr. Pettit. Yeah. And he would confirm that all day long there. Okay, let's move on. So what I like to do, because obviously you don't see all the calculations going on, I like to say, Eric, just show it to me so that I can do my own math and I don't have to go to a calculator and anything else like that. And we're no smoke and mirrors here. But again, let's say this one doctor is seeing 25 patients a day, okay? And we're going to get that, to $150 mark, or if you want to lower it again down to 120 or 125, you can certainly do that. But typically, there's always, we always in the business world, what's the nut that we've got to crack to make sure that we're profitable. So a doctor wants to know what's the lowest and what is the most that I think I can make within my practice. And so a doctor is looking at this bigger number here at the end of the day. They're probably thinking, gosh, if I can bring in anywhere from $2,800 to $3,700, you know what? I think I'm doing pretty good. If a doctor's only bringing in about $2,000 a day, they really do need some help. Especially if they've got claims that are being hung up and they're not getting refiled, and it just drags down their cash flow. So if you could take $3,750 and say a doctor can probably survive on about 80% of that if they're good, which means that they've got about a 20% rejection rate, which is fairly high. You can see why some doctors want to get doubled or tripled book in there so that they can make sure that they can get as many claims out the door. And by the time that they're done with a day's time, they're beat. So if we can help them reduce the amount of people that they have to see and making sure that we're at a 90 to 95% acceptance rate on their claims, they're going, woohoo, this This is all a part of it. So what you're learning today is really an in-depth understanding of what cash flow is. So let's not forget on the front end, if they've got a biller in-house and a full-time employee, and they switch from that to you, they're already making probably another 10, 15% in their cash flow just getting an outsource. This is why it's so important for us to allow us to help engage with you so we can do this practice analysis for a doctor and put all of that out there on paper. Because I promise you, if you can do that, you will show the doctor that you're not selling them anything except more cash into their pocket at the end of the day. All right, so again, 25 patients a day at 150, that comes out to 3750 per day, that the doctor's trying to think, okay, if I can crack that, I'm doing pretty well. So let's take 3750 a day. We're going to times that by 7%. Your average earnings on a daily basis is about $262.50 a day. Now, I don't know about you, but making $250 to $260 a day is not bad money, okay? Not bad money for working for one doctor, okay? And that's going to be it'll take you a less than 2 hours a day to earn $262 a day. Folks, if you do the calculation of that right, and I'm telling you, it takes you, let's just say it takes you 2 hours in a day, times that or divide that there, you're making a little over $130, $120 an hour, $130 an hour. So that's not bad. And especially some of you who may have to do this part-time. So you can find a doctor, still work your full-time job, and get this business up and going, okay? So talk with your sales rep about how all that can work, okay? Now, if you just take the 262 times 5 days a week times 52 weeks out of the year, you can see the calculation comes out to $68,250, okay? Most of you would be very happy, again, just to make sure that you got your return on investment. But I'd like for you to think about it, not only getting your ROI, but being in the black by your first year, not in the red, okay? So this is where you can certainly look at that. Now, typically, if you're doing this for 3 doctors, which a lot of our independent medical billers are doing, okay, you can see that not only are you going to be in the 6-figure income, but you're already going to be in the $200,000 income with just 3 doctors, okay? So you think about this. Think of the ratio of investment to your capital that you can be making. And again, this is all something that you can do on your own without having to pay someone else to do the work. Now, at this point, would I be looking for someone to do the billing for me? I did that because what I wanted to do, I wanted to grow my business. I didn't want just to say, hey, I want my wife and me to be strapped to our computers all day long doing billing. What I would do, I found someone that could start doing some work for me and start doing the billing for me, and I paid them a percentage of what they helped me collect. And so that allowed me to get out there and go find more doctors. So I wanted to have 6, 7, 8 doctors and to have the bandwidth to keep building that and keep moving forward. So hopefully you can see that that's a better way of investment. But all I've taken there is the 68 times 3, you get the 204. But again, being conservative, if you want to be a little bit more conservative, again, let's just say that you did $40,000 a year. Well, at least you know that you got your investment back. And if you got 3 doctors making $40,000 a year, folks, it's $120,000. That's well above the average of what most Americans are making at a full-time job at what most people are at right now. Okay, most people don't make. You could be making in the 100,000. Most people are at the 60 to 70, $80,000 a year jobs, which is why, again, most homes have to have two income sources. But imagine that you and your partner or spouse or whatever it may be, that you could work this together and build this up pretty nicely. All right, we are about 20 minutes away to the top of the hour. I'm going to start wrapping things up here for our YouTubers that are going to be watching this a little bit later. So I'm going to kind of start speeding this up. But if you've got any particular questions about return on investment, what you can make, what the investment is, feel free to shoot me those questions here as we kind of start dialing in and wrapping this today's up. Because right now, what I want to talk with you about is what's included in this $30,000. What am I going to get out of this? Am I just going to get some training, some books, some marketing material, and then get a little pat on my head and get a certification and tell me go have a good life and hope that you do well? You're going to get a lot more than that. So what I'm going to share with you right now, what are you getting for your investment here? Well, let me first of all tell you what you're getting. You're getting a support team and a training team that is with you for a lifetime. This is what you're getting from us. You're getting real people who have been in this business for real time's sake. Every person that's on our support team has been an ABS licensee already or a business owner already. So we know what it means to help you get that first client. We know what it means to help you with your marketing. We know what it means to help you close that first deal, to make sure that you have all of your I's dotted and your T's crossed. We know what it means to help get your doctor up and transferred from one system to another system. This is what you're getting. You're getting well over 30 years of experience in medical revenue cycle management. That's what you're getting. Now, let's look at all of the assets that you are getting with your $30,000 investment. You're getting all these products and services. Excuse me. As I mentioned to you, we have a software as a service that is iClaim and EMRX. Now, if you're thinking properly, you're thinking, okay, Eric, that's our billing software. What if a doctor already has their own billing software? That's okay. We can actually teach you to use their current software as you start to help them develop some trust with you, and then finally move them over to iClaim and EMRX. What I don't want you to walk away from is today of thinking that you are a sales rep for American Business Systems to sell a particular software that we have here. That's not what we're about. We're here to help you be your own business owner. That's what we're here to help you. We've got all the different services. We have all the different ones for accounts receivables, which is Quick Collect and Choice Pay. For those that might need some doctors might need some help with coding, we have Audit Guard and CodeWrite. There's going to be some of your doctors that need to add new insurances to their platform, like Blue Cross and Blue Shield or Aetna or Cigna or even Medicare, and they need some credentialing. So that's what you see right down there is credentialing now. You might need some doctors that might need some help in marketing. That's what AutoCard is all about, to remind their patients to come in for their annual wellness visits or their yearly exams or mammograms or whatever it might be. We can, or just simply thank you for being a patient of ours for the last 6 years, or happy birthday from the doctor. Just a touch there of always helping the doctor's patients keep at the top of the mind of their personal doctors. I'm telling you, between now and the end of the year, I bet you already this year, they've already had some HIPAA compliancy issues that have occurred. These doctors need help with that because every HIPAA compliant infraction that happens, it costs the doctors money to recoup that, okay? And then lastly, virtual care is a superb way of helping the doctors make a little bit more cash flow, see more patients without these patients having to come in the office to get their blood pressures checked or checking their glucometers or their blood sugar if they're diabetics. We can do all of that remotely. The doctors can charge for that. It becomes another way of touching that patient. It increases the doctor's cash flow without, again, having these patients come into the office. That can be all done by virtual care. And then finally, for those that want to step out a little bit further, you can always start doing dental billing. We have that as well as part of your investment. So none of this comes at an extra cost to you. That's what I'm trying to share with you here. You're getting, again, the iClaim billing platform, the electronic medical records platform that comes along with it. If you haven't seen a demonstration of this already, I'm encouraging you right now to, when we get through with this webinar today, make sure that you get back with your sales rep and schedule a demonstration to see iClaim and EMRX in action. I've already mentioned to you about the CodeWrite, that this helps doctors who need coding if they need help or you need assistance with that. This is a service in which is kind of like a software as a service type thing, where the doctors can utilize this as needed. Okay. And in our world, in the medical world, it's called PRN. PRN just simply means as needed. You might have heard of that when the doctor says, hey, if you got, if you're taking some pain meds or you're taking this, that, and the other, take it as needed. Okay. That means as needed, and you just use it whenever you need it. And typically, this is what happens with CodeWright and with Audit Guard. Compliancy, the same thing with HIPAA compliancy. It's all these things as needed. They don't need all of it at one time. But you being a revenue cycle management company, you're looking at all areas, every single area where money could be lost and then money be recouped. Obviously, the biggest part of it is just getting the billing done and getting the billing out of that doctor's office and making sure that you are doing the work that only a medical billing company can do, and that's get that doctor more money. And then what about old money? The doctors have already done the services with these patients. They've already seen these patients. They've already prescribed the meds, but for whatever reason, they haven't gotten paid. So they send a bill out, and obviously at the end of the day, the last thing they want to do is send a patient to collections. So let's set up a different way of making sure the doctors get paid. These services are here to help you increase that doctor's cash flow. Now, the other thing that you're getting is a full-fledged, beautiful, professionally looking website. Nothing that you have to go back and try to figure out yourself, because we know getting your shingle hanged out there in the on the internet is very well needed, and you need something that doesn't have any typos in it, making sure that everything's done properly. And there's several from you to choose from. Again, get back with your sales rep and they can get you that help. Now, Cheryl asked earlier, if I do end up calling the 800 number and I do need to get a hold of somebody at support, how long is that going to take me? Again, typically you can see it's running from Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. in the morning to 5 p.m. in the afternoon, Central Standard Time, okay? So you might be on the East Coast. That's going to be about 10 o'clock your time, But what if you need some help before 10 a.m.? We have what's called a licensee support site that's open 24 hours, 7 days a week. All you got to do is go in there and type in your search, what you might be looking for. We'll have that there. And it may be exactly what you need before you even talk to somebody at support. So just make sure that you get everything you need. We have all of the dynamics of marketing and the tools, your resources, your contact stuff that you're going to need, any review of services. If you need to review some services that you've already gone through training with, all of that's there. You can go through all of that through there. And then lastly, you need marketing help and marketing support. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on marketing right now. We just did a one, I think, last week or the week before last on marketing, but you need marketing support. Not only are you getting flyers that you're going to need to explain what each of these services are, which is not, it's all included with you in that $30,000 investment, but you're also getting printed books. Okay, now these books are very important. So as we kind of start wrapping up here, just kind of listen in a little bit closely, and I'll share a little bit about marketing. So you need to show some credentials, right? Not only are you getting the Myrma logo put on there and your credentials as a certified medical revenue manager, but one of the best things that we've ever come up with is a way to show your credibility as being part of a written book, as the one that wrote the foreword to the book. So we have already templated a foreword for you to utilize if you want to use that one, or if you want to change it up, you may do that. But what you're going to get is your name on the front cover of the book. Not only on the front cover of the book, but on the inside cover of the book. And folks, whenever you get that to a doctor, that shoots your credibility way up, because what you need to make sure is that these doctors understand you know what you're talking about here. So you can see here in both of those areas inside that book, your contact information goes directly inside that book and on the front cover of the book as well. And then not last but not least, you're getting a one-on-one training module from us. Now, I think it was 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, that I did a and actually it's been 3 weeks ago because the week before last, Adam and Jason were on here going through some Q&A type of information for you. But about 3 weeks ago, I did a pretty in-depth review on, can the training that I get from American Business Systems help me succeed in getting my first client? Go back and watch that. I'm going to show you where to go find that webinar here in just a moment. But if you need a refresher on that, go back and do that. But what you're getting from us is a one-on-one training. You don't have to fly here. You don't have to watch boring videos. This is just like what we're doing right now. I am live here today for those that are live here on this Wednesday afternoon on August the 6th. Okay. So if you're here live with me, you know that you're hearing me and all my baubles or whatever else that's happening right here. But you're going to have a live one-on-one training with someone who's been in the business for nearly 15 years already, if not longer than that, who's going to help you make sure that you have a strategic plan of getting your first client. You're not just learning medical billing, you're learning how to get your first client, and they're going to coach you along of making sure that you get your client within the first 3 to 4 months after you get through with training. So we want to make sure that you are getting in front of doctors and how to do all of that. But if you want a little bit more in depth about what the training looks like, go back about 2 or 3 weeks ago and go check that out. But you can see here that our training is 100% money back guaranteed as well. And I'm going to explain that to you. And again, for a lifetime of support, and for those that want to know a little bit more about support, and this person here that you're looking at, Tim Warren is our Vice President of Support and Training and everything else that goes along with it. Folks, there is no better person than I can tell you to put you in the hands of Tim and his team of expertise to help you. And number one, again, help you get that first client, and then help you along the way of onboarding that doctor into your system, helping you get onboarded with that doctor and get you right out of the gate. And you can see here that we've got a complete jumpstart marketing plan to, again, help you get your first client within the first 30 to 90 days. Folks, this is what we offer you. It's all for the $30,000 investment. You're getting that all for $30,000 investment. There are no franchise fees. There are no royalty fees. That is the one and only payment that you'll ever make to American Business Systems. And we want you to be a part of this because we feel very confidently that we're going to help you get that $30,000 investment back as quickly as possible.